In this video, I'll be replacing the coolant expansion tank on a Porsche 944. On these cars, the coolant expansion tank is usually identified as the large yellowish-brown reservoir on the driver's side. As plastic ages, it becomes more brittle, and while these can crack and develop leaks, they're also replaced quite frequently just for appearance purposes. You can see this one is discolored and stained to the point where you almost can't even determine the fluid level at times. And if we compare that to brake fluid reservoir that was replaced last year, quite a bit of color difference, and even the washer fluid reservoir, which is original to this car, which is why I'll be replacing this one. I've been watching the prices on these for a couple years, and I was hoping to pick one up for under $200, but prices have actually increased around to $225, and so before $225 turns into $300, I figured I'd go ahead and pick one up and install it. And here's what a new one should look like. Refreshing a bunch of things here in the engine compartment, and this is a big one that stands out, so that's why we're here. These expansion tanks are secured by 3 connections. There are 2 10mm screws along the fender lip and 1 10mm nut down below. And then there are 3 hose connections, the main fill hose, and there's an expansion line that comes up the back, and finally a little overflow line behind the cap that just dumps out underneath the car if we overfill the system. So pretty easy to replace. Probably the more annoying part would just be draining the coolant a little bit. If you can time this with like a water pump change or oil cooler seals, it's a lot easier because you already got the coolant out of the system. But otherwise, you'll need to pop the drain plug at the bottom of the radiator, let a little bit out to the point where it's drained. And you can see, even though this one is drained, there's some baffling here that's got a little bit of fluid in it, so when I pull it out, I'll either plug this line or make sure I don't tip it forward so I'm not dumping coolant down on the floor here. But pretty easy to do, so let's get it done. The drain plug is located on the lower driver side of the radiator, and they are removed with a Phillips head screwdriver. Go ahead and twist that out and be prepared to catch some of the fluid so you can properly dispose of it. And once enough is drained out, just screw the plug back in and you're ready to remove the expansion tank. Once you're all done, we need to refill, pressurize, and vent the coolant system and check for leaks. And here's a look at the new expansion tank installed. A couple things I'll mention are that I did have to swap out these little metal retaining clips from the old tank on these tabs. And for the stud on the lower connection, if this is heavily oxidized, make sure to take steps to use a wire brush, some penetrating oil, because if we put too much force on the nut when removing it, these studs can just spin right off the sheet metal. They're just spot welded on there. And so not a bad little upgrade. Took maybe all 15 minutes, aside from the system pressurization and bleeding, to get it swapped out. So a quick little upgrade that will dramatically improve the appearance of the engine bay.